I'm a little salty because I wasn't able to get, you know, into the Ever Crisis beta, which, you know, hey, you know, you no harm, no foul. You never know if you don't apply, right? Ever Crisis had a closed beta and it's come and almost went. Well, it actually ends on the 13th. And, you know, it's on me because I waited too late to sign up. I had seen it, you know, on my radar, but I waited too late. It's not like I was actually going to, you know, get in anyway. Like I was saying before, Square Enix is very tight-lipped. I applied to try to get Final Fantasy 16 early, but you got to have a certain amount of quota of subscribers to get it. I think it was like 5,000 in order to qualify for Final Fantasy 16, which I'm not quite there yet. But Square Enix, we working on it. I stream your game still if you want to check, which I don't know, you know, I'm kind of slightly critical about certain things at certain periods, so they might not like you, boy. I call for black characters in the games more often than not. There were a whole bunch of requests, and of course, I mean, this is Final Fantasy 7, and this is a Final Fantasy game for the open beta, which made Square Enix have to end up doing some type of a raffle thing in order to choose who's who. So even if you were like me and didn't get in, Square Enix said that the more pre-beta registers there were, that meant a better result and better items and stuff for later on in the game, which is, to be real, an added incentive for the game. The beta was an Android only. Finally, Android gets something. Like, seriously, Android users got some kind of something before Apple users. Apparently the functionality or something is easier for devs to operate on Android versus iOS, which I can see. I mean, that's the reason that I end up getting into Android in the first place. I could run ROMs on other games and stuff that I couldn't do on an iPhone. Although, still no word on an Android release or no Android release on Fantasian by Miss Walker, which is probably the only real game that I really ever want to play on a cell phone. To be real with y'all, to be honest. Final Fantasy 7 Ever Crisis is a gacha game, and yeah, I know, oh lord. And I'm not really fond of gacha games. Just the thought of shelling out any of my real life gil for in-game stuff. Let's just say I was once a victim of 2K, but Ever Crisis is Final Fantasy 7, and Final Fantasy 7 is one of my top 3 favorite games of all time. And from what it says, it is a free-to-play gacha game, of course, which that kind of, you know, tickled my frugal senses. Ever Crisis is a reimagining, if you will, of timelines, or rather, timelines from Final Fantasy 7 and its compilation, which include, you know, that's a lot of them. Advent Children, Dirge of Cerberus, which gets no love, I guess maybe because it was a shooter, Before Crisis, and Crisis Core. I just realized there's a lot of Crisis in, you know, the whole world of Gaia when you really break it down. I know many of folks hate Final Fantasy 7 and call it overrated. I mean, there is a reason they keep milking it, and the reason that they keep milking Final Fantasy 7 is because we as consumers, we keep drinking the milk, and that also goes for Mario Kart, that also goes for Resident Evil 4, that also goes for especially GTA 5 and Skyrim, which I bought all of them multiple times too. How do I even buy Skyrim? I bought Skyrim so many times, I don't even play Skyrim. I never beat Skyrim. Like, I get so far, and then I just don't. And those are expensive games, by the way. Skyrims are still, like, on every console, got nice trade value. Even at GameStop, they got nice trade value. Even though I didn't play the beta, I was able to catch some streams and vids from Maximilian Dude and Blitz over on YouTube, or rather here on YouTube. And from what I seen, I mean, even for a non-gacha guy, I like. And they both look like they were enjoying themselves, and every other screen or footage that showed the game in some kind of way looked like the people was enjoying itself. I mean, again, it's a Final Fantasy VII story, so we pretty much know what's going to happen, but they do have some added elements of random rare drops during breaks and lunches, you know, that kind of like will make the game, how do I say, probably worth its salt, because it's kind of like a toilet game, excuse me, a bathroom game. It's quick and to the point where you can pick up and go do something else, or a doctor's office game, or, you know, maybe even stand in the line grocery shopping type game where you're able to play and then put it down, which, you know, for adults, you know, like myself, that can actually come in handy. And even though it's the same story, again, you do have a little more backstory to some of the other characters that make up Avalanche and are around the central party, like Biggs, Wedge, and of course, everyone's favorite breakout star, that raspberry princess herself, Jessie. There's also a heavier emphasis on status effects in the end game that I like. Those and debuffs that are both connected to like your weapons and stuff. So from what I've seen, it was heavy poisons and a lot of times where you can hook some kind of strategy to do some kind of defensive buff and then allow your other party's members to capitalize on it. So I do like that, because that reminds me of some of the older games I used to play, where if you got poisoned, you got sleep or petrified, you were basically SOL. That's boo-boo out of luck. Just for those of y'all don't know, but it's the other word with an S, not the B word. You can also switch between your characters, which have been something that we didn't know if we were going to be able to do. And again, y'all, it is a gacha game, but you do have the ability to select between chapters, which timeline that you want to be on from certain entries in the game. The battle system is a traditional ATB, which in my opinion seems to fit well with these mobile type games. And although they really didn't have too much to the game, it looks like you're really gonna be a good mobile game, you know, especially with the models. I mean, it's only so much graphics I think you can do to a mobile game until phones take a new jump or a new leap. But the graphics from the game do look impressive. Switch, look out. I'm especially in love with these new or newish, shinier anime type profile pictures and dialogue pics from Tetsuo Naruma and Lisa Fujisi. It looks like that old school peak Naruma. Remember, Naruma did the original character designs back in 97, which probably was earlier, 95, 96, for Final Fantasy VII. So he drew up Cloud, Tifa, Zack, Sephiroth, and all them boys. Actually, he was the one who decided that he wanted to change Cloud's hair, because originally Cloud was supposed to have a different color hair. You're supposed to have black hair like Sephiroth, but then when they added Tifa and added Zack later on into the story to make it a little more depth, to give Cloud more contrast, that's why he put him to have blonde hair. And if you notice, Cloud's like the only person to really have that really deep color blonde hair in the series. What's her name? Is it Elena? The other Turk, she has blonde hair too, but it's more of a sandy pastel type of blonde than just that full-fledged like anime blonde like Cloud has. The game was set to have these monthly like episodic installments, which would like drop like, well, monthly. Still haven't heard anybody talking about if they're going to still be doing that or not. And as far as the elephant in the room, I will say it again, yeah, it's a gacha game. So there is going to be some kind of elements for real life money for your items and skills, and, you know, some rare RNG drops that you can get. From what I've seen, it's not so much yet. And from everybody who's talking about it that played the beta, it doesn't seem like it's going to they don't really know because it's, again, just the beta. But I mean, from all the way it looks, it doesn't look bad. I'll definitely try it out. It's Final Fantasy VII, and Final Fantasy VII is one of my favorite games, and I would love to see some new universes, like, or them revisit old universes, not just 7. 6 has a really great lore. We'll say it was 8 and 9, 10, but I mean, 7 is that cash cow. So I mean, who am I to tell a business not to go out there and get that kind of money when, again, I keep buying the same thing over? And if you did like this video, do me a favor and hit that like button. Just wanna, it really does help out a lot. And it's free 99. And if you like the content that you see and you want to see more about games, RPGs, and me rambling on about such said topics, then make sure you hit that subscribe button. I make geekly content here on the channel all the time, and I also stream over on Twitch. You can find me under pretty much everywhere at The Geek Show. You can find me under and at, well, The Geek Show. Anyway, I'll holler at y'all later in the web. Remember to eat, sleep, geek, repeat. Peace.